Hey guys, this is Paul with VHScollector.com, and today we are going to do another VHS retitle video. And the first one we are going to talk about is Astro Zombies. Now, Astro Zombies was originally released in 1968 as Astro Zombies. That's the original title. Now, the first Wizard release was as Astro Zombies, the original title, and they released that one in a slipcase. Then, later, they released it 2 other times in big boxes. Now, these other 2 titles or releases have different titles. So, let's see what the first one is. In 1985, they released Astro Zombies as Space Vampires. Really? Space Vampires? So I guess they thought, maybe we'll just change the monster type. They changed it from zombie type to vampire type. And they even marketed it as such. The tagline reads, "They came from the end of the universe to suck your blood." Obviously, if you've seen this movie, it has nothing to do with vampires. In fact, it doesn't even have much to do with zombies, even though that's the original title. I don't know why they retitled this. I guess to cover another market, people interested in vampire movies. Gutsy thing here, and they interesting artwork there by Corey Wolf. Don't really know what's going on there. A woman's laying on top of some kind of contraption. I don't freaking know what it is. But does it reflect the movie? At least there's no vampires on the cover sucking blood, like robotic vampires, or I can just imagine them coming up with something like that. So this artwork is certainly interesting. It doesn't really exploit the title very much. And then they released it a year later, only a year later, in another big box under another title. This time around, it was when Vestron had the Wizard Video license. And I think maybe it was up to them to change it. So they called it Space Zombies, not Astro Zombies. Maybe Astro kind of felt too outdated, too 60s sci-fi. They went with Space Zombies. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if this was Charles Band or the people at Wizard, or if this was a Lightning Video choice. I'm not really sure. This came out, like I said, a year later. Now, they adapted the original cover art there. Very retro poster art. Now, that's the original poster art to this movie, I believe. So, very cool. Let's see what the tagline reads. "Join an evil seductress and a power-crazed scientist in the Zombie Massacre that made movie history." The Zombie Massacre that made movie history. Now, this came out in 1968. That was the same year that Night of the Living Dead was released. So this is the Zombie Massacre that made movie history in 1968. It wasn't Night of the Living Dead, it was this one. It's just funny because this has nothing really to do with the zombie, the traditional type of zombie, the Night of the Living Dead, or the reanimated dead kind of zombie that comes out and eats brains or whatever. So, yeah, this has nothing, I mean, the way this is advertised has really nothing to do with what the movie really is. The movie is really about some kind of scientist that creates some kind of alien-type creature, Frankenstein-type creature in his lab. Not really a vampire, and not really a zombie. So, I don't know. So, yeah, look at these two. The whole point is that both of these movies, with these different titles and cover art, appeal to 2 different markets, right? It's really sleazy to do that, because if you're a fan of the Wizard Video titles, and you're like, hey, Wizard Video released another videotape, and this one's called Space Zombies. I haven't seen Space Zombies, let me see that. And then you're watching, you're like, wait a second, this seems very familiar. So, of course, if you rented both, if your video store had both of these, you would have been totally ripped off, because you're renting the same movie twice, possibly 3 times if you rented it as Astro Zombies. Now, there's an interesting thing with this movie, Astro Zombies. Now, I'm comparing this movie, this title card, with the title card of the original movie, Astro Zombies, with the original title from 1968. And I noticed that these prints of Astro Zombies is missing a scene. Not a scene, but a shot in the beginning of the movie. There's a shot of this alien creature killing a woman in a garage. There's a shot of blood splattering on the car door. That shot of the blood splatter has been removed from these 2 versions. Well, obviously they used the same cut of the movie when they released these. It's probably a TV cut, because they totally cut out that blood splatter on the car door. So that was very interesting. Now, when I sync these side by side, I am syncing them up to the first frame of the appearance of the little toy robots. Okay, I didn't make that clear in my last video that I try to sync these up to when the movie actually starts. And I also noticed that sometimes I'll try my hardest to sync these movies up, but sometimes they just don't sync up right. There's shots that were shortened and shots that are missing a few frames in the splice. You might have noticed that with my Daddy's Deadly Darling comparison. It goes kind of out of sync at the end. That's because a few shots were shortened for some reason. Really weird. So, but in this case, we are comparing or we are syncing it up with the first appearance of the robots. Also note, when you look at these two versions, side by side with the other ones, that the opening title sequence is almost black. It's very, very strange. It has the original credits in the forefront of the video, but in the background there's like this black haze over the toy robots and the little toy tank and everything. You'll notice it when we play this side by side. I cannot begin to fathom why they would do that. Why would you? Were you trying to censor out the toy robots? Really strange. Just whatever print. I didn't watch the whole print of this version of the movie. So there's probably some other weird stuff going on. Like I said, maybe it's a TV print, but I can't imagine any reason why they would kind of blur out or block out the toy robots and the toy tanks during the opening credit sequence. I cannot figure that out. So, yeah. So with that said, let's put these side by side and see what happens. This time we are going to talk about Christmas Evil. Now, if you're familiar with this movie, you know that's not the original title. The original title is You Better Watch Out. But I really enjoy Christmas Evil. I think it's a much better title, honestly. But it was also released as Terror in Toyland. Which one of these came out first? I don't think does this have a year on it? I don't know, but I suspect that this one came out first. Saturn Productions. There's actually two versions of this Saturn Productions release in this clamshell. This is the white clamshell. I mean, at least the sleeve, the artwork is white. And there's another version where the artwork is green. I got that in storage somewhere. But what is the year on this? 1985. So we know that it was called Christmas Evil at least in 1985. It did have a very short run as maybe You Better Watch Out. I don't remember the story behind that. Exactly. Lewis Jackson, who made this movie, I think in the commentary track he said that it was never really marketed well. It didn't really play at a lot of theaters. But I believe that the title Christmas Evil probably came about from its video release. Probably this one. This is the earliest video release of Christmas Evil that I'm aware of. The green version of this might have been even earlier than 1985. I just didn't want to dig it out. But I'm pretty certain that both of these Saturn releases have the same print of the movie. So, yeah, that's this one. And then we have the Academy Big Box. Terror in Toyland. That's a nice title that kind of rolls off the tongue, right? I don't think it's so bad. The artwork is not as cool as the other ones. You know, Santa with a knife. That's pretty cool. Santa and the reflection of an axe. Okay. There was also a few other releases of this movie, but most of the time the movie was released as Christmas Evil. I can't recall of any other distributor calling it Terror in Toyland. But compared to You Better Watch Out, I think that Christmas Evil is the definitive title. Now Synapse Films released it on DVD as with the original title card, You Better Watch Out, even though the DVD is called Christmas Evil, because by this point everybody knows it as Christmas Evil. Just call it Christmas Evil. And for anyone who's not familiar, this movie, Christmas Evil, is coming out on Blu-ray on the 20th, 22nd of November this month, so keep a lookout for that. I'm very excited about that because that looks like it has a ton of... It compiles all the features, the previous features of the movie, including the Synapse features and the original Trauma DVD features. Now, the Trauma DVD probably uses a video master of some kind for that movie because the print's not very good. But at the very least, they had a commentary with the director, Louis Jackson, and Brandon Mogert, if I'm saying that right, who played the psychotic Santa type character in this movie. Very interesting commentary, very unique. And they also have an on-camera interview with the actor, which is really neat too. And I think they're porting those over onto the new Blu-ray. Very exciting. So yeah, so let's compare these. Now, the title card for this, obviously just inserted, and these title cards are very simple. The intros to these movies are pretty much all the same. There's no big difference except for just the logo of the movie. This movie obviously has the Christmas Evil title card, and the print of this movie is pretty rough and it's pretty shaky compared to Terror in Toyland, which has a much better print of the movie and it's stabilized. The print isn't as shaky. Now, I sync these up by the first drop of blood when the boy cuts his hand at the beginning of the movie with the snow globe glass. I sync these up to the first drop of blood, but even though I sync it up, it still goes out of sync at some point. So these movies, there's a variety of reasons which I kind of briefly explained before for these movies to go out of sync. It could be just different prints of the movie that were trimmed differently, missing frames, and maybe a different speed of the film. This has happened before too. So yeah, so we're gonna play the three versions of this movie side by side, the title cards anyway, and see how they look. So yeah, so there it is, guys. We have Astro Zombies and Christmas Evil, also known as You Better Watch Out. Very interesting to see all those title cards compared, played side by side. Very interesting, right? So yeah, so if you guys have any other suggestions on different kind of comparisons, if I could get my hands on them, if I have a ton of different retitles here. I could also access them, the huge library at 112 Video. They'll help me out with that. So let me know what you guys are interested in. It doesn't have to be horror. I prefer maybe an out-of-print movie, obscure movie, something, maybe a cult movie. Sci-fi action. I don't really care about drama or comedy, although I'm sure there's some interesting differences there too. But yeah, comments on this video, like the video if you like this series, and I'll make more of them. This has been Paul with VHScollector.com, and I will see you guys next time.